Welcome to the Brew Truth Podcast
where we unpack today's news.
and separate the sense from the nonsense. I'm your host, Jay,
And I'm your co-host, Katie.
and we want to remind you all to like, subscribe, and share our videos.
Let's dive in.
All right, so we have been on a little hiatus. Life, holidays, family, and now we're back. The world is crazy right now. When we left, it wasn't actually as crazy.
It was getting there, though.
True. Let me ask you this one. Is it wrong to check your partner's phone in secret?
In secret?
In secret, meaning that you would never tell them and they would never know.
Yeah, it's wrong. Would I do it? It depends. But knowing something is wrong and actually doing it, I know it's wrong, but it doesn't stop me from doing it.
You would do that?
It depends.
Wow.
But if I have to do that, then you're not my person.
That's not accurate.
It's true.
That's not accurate.
It is accurate.
I think that has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with you.
No, because if I have to resort to checking your phone, it means then I don't trust you.
No,
and if I'm doing
or-
it behind your back, it means I don't trust you.
No, I think that it could speak to how you struggle with communication.
You think so?
Not you per se, but the person. Yeah, because my whole deal is like, you're not asking the questions you need to ask. Because that conversation, if it's healthy and both parties are participating, I'm going to ask all the questions that are creating the doubt that leads people to go check phones.
Yeah, but what if you have a person who
Is not willing to tell you the
yeah,
truth?
they're not forthcoming.
Then that's different. So it starts with communication.
Right.
So my whole deal is at that point, if you know that you struggle with communication, then it should end before you get to checking your phone.
Okay, hear me out a bit.
Okay.
If all of a sudden you had access to my phone, right? And we used to share stuff, share passwords, whatever. And all of a sudden I am using my phone in the bathroom. I'm secretly going off and checking my phone and you don't know what my password is anymore. You ask me questions and I'm still not telling the truth. And you feel like I'm not telling the truth because the kind of person you know I am, I'm not telling the truth. I mean, wouldn't you want to know what's in my phone? Like, wouldn't you secretly go off and...
But it speaks to exactly what I was saying. I would initiate a conversation. In that conversation, I would be talking about the feelings that I have, and I will be describing the behaviors that I've seen. I feel like with checking phones is that people struggle with communicating their truth and what's actually really happening. Let me be clear. If I'm going to say, when you went into the bathroom, I saw that you were on your phone. I noticed that you changed your password. I noticed that you've been moving differently. And if I come to you direct and ask you, like, what's going on? What am I missing? Is it that there's someone else, or is it something that I've done? Are you upset? Like, these are the questions that a person should be asking. And all of the questions that I have, I should be able to get out and ask you so that there is no need for me to check your phone.
But you're banking on the fact that I will answer and get
So
all...
I'm banking on the fact that you communicate effectively,
Right.
tell me the truth.
Right.
Okay, so if you know that I'm going to lie to you when talking, that relationship is already done.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? Like, you don't have to wait to check my phone. Because if you can't talk to me and I can't give you an honest answer, that relationship's done.
But I still want to know what you're writing.
Let me be clear.
I still
struggle with that. My phone, obviously with my partners open, they have my passcode. Even though they have the opportunity to, I don't feel like they should use it.
No, but it's a mind thing.
It's a personal thing.
That too. I mean, I don't disagree with you. The fact that you give your spouse your passcode, it's a mind thing. I have my spouse's passcode. I don't search the phone.
Not anymore.
You know why? Because I just believe that if you had anything to hide, I wouldn't have the passcode because you'd be guarding it. You know what I mean? That makes sense?
That sounds great.
So it's like, to me, if I have your passcode, there's no point in... I wouldn't search your phone. It would have been the last thing.
So funny. I can play the devil's advocate. So great with that. But I think it ultimately boils down to trust, right? And whether or not a person's trustworthy.
It's true.
And whether or not a person that you're partnered with, you have communicated or able to communicate effectively. This is like my golden rule that I've had since I think I was a child. God will always reveal. Like, I am the type of person that I'm so patient and I wait things out. I always have been like that. I am very patient. I wait. And when I wait, guess what? I find. And not only what I find, God has a way of being like, bloop, 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 bloop. And I don't even have to ask. The only thing I pray for
is what?
Clarity, and for him to guide my steps. That's my prayer. So if I ever have questions about a person, this has been in many relationships, I've waited. And every time, regardless of what I wanted to see or didn't want to see, it has always revealed itself.
Did you ever say, God, please let me manage the information that I'm about to
Not
receive?
at all, because at that point, God has given it and he knows who he's given it to. So at that point, he already know. He already know what I'm capable of. He know the kind of mess that's inside of me, right? He like, here you go, Jay. I'm like, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I go off.
Right.
All right, let me ask you this. If someone cheats once, will they cheat again?
Lord. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
If someone cheats once, will they cheat again?
I don't think so.
What don't you think so about?
Yeah, I don't think that the fact that somebody cheats once,
Uh-huh.
they'll cheat again. Yeah.
I'm
It's not that hard
surprised.
and fast.
I am literally surprised this is coming out of your mouth.
Why?
Years ago, we've talked about this,
Mhm.
and I even remember how we met. You said no cheating, like so.
No cheaters.
Right, so
Mhm.
I thought you would have a different answer. That's all.
No, because when you've lived and you understand that people do change, people work on themselves, I don't think that because you've cheated once, you're going to cheat again. I don't think like you'll forever be a cheater, but it's intrinsic. It depends on the individual. If they really want to work on themselves and say, "Hey, I want to fix this. I've cheated once. You've forgiven me." Blah 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 blah.
Oh, I
There's a
gotta
lot of
really. So hold
things
a
that
second.
comes into
So
play.
let me ask you this, and I just want you to be a little vulnerable right now, if you
Yeah.
can. So if your partner cheated on you, you would actually forgive them and and be able to move
No, but
forward. No, no, no. Let me finish. You'd be able to move forward and believe in your heart and do not lie that they would never cheat on you again.
Yeah, but the question wasn't about me. It was a general question. And to answer your question, no. Yeah, if you cheat on me, that's it. No, there's no forgiveness. There's no
So why would you give a
because
different answer?
no, because generally speaking, I do understand that people can cheat. However, it doesn't mean that because I understand that people can be reformed. Sorry. I mean, people can be reformed. It doesn't mean that I am going to want that person who is reformed or
So
no,
good. I
yeah.
love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's true. Like,
So
yeah,
you
but I do understand and I understand that people change, period.
you do.
But I don't want that.
And you don't want them
No,
anymore.
I don't want to be the one to
Okay.
find out if you change or not.
There's my girl. So I was wondering where you work. You sounded so like healed before. I was like, "Who are you?" Right? That's the answer that I expected from you. And you know me, I'm always kind of like not on the opposite side of this, but I'm usually more left centrist than you. I would say it depends if the person really did the work to determine why they cheated. Like
Hmm.
if they did that, do I think they'll cheat again? As long as they were honest about their journey in therapy, because a lot of people come in therapy and they don't tell the truth. I can tell you that people come to therapy and they're looking for a friend. They're not looking for actual change and healing. So when I hear a question like that, it really does depend on whether the person is ready to look in the mirror to face the things that have led them to make those decisions. Now, the other side is if a person is not getting their needs met in a relationship and they do not communicate well, it doesn't matter how much healing they got in the process of them being reformed. I think they'll go back to history. You feel me? Because if they didn't learn, we'll say this, especially the big communication tool that we teach, which is making sure you're addressing the root of the problem. Because if you don't get to the root and you deal with all of these symptoms, the biggest root, which led you to that behavior, will still be there. Which means there's a higher likelihood for you to pick that choice again. So I would say it really does depend on whether or not a person's willing to do the work and be honest about what has led them to this. And that's usually history, usually childhood, and usually trauma. Yeah, isn't that wild?
It is.
All right, let me ask you another one. You ready?
Ready as can be.
Okay, okay, here we go. Would you rather be a partner or a spouse?
Why do you ask these one or the other? Why can't it be both?
Well, because one is involved and the other one isn't. Or it depends on what type of relationship you want.
Oh, okay. I'd rather have a partner
Why?
because, in every true sense of the word, you can be a spouse but not a partner. And a partner is your person, your ride or die. Yeah, your ride or die.
You really
Right.
need me to die, right?
Nah, you know what I mean. Yeah, so at least you have that one person who you can count on or that person who have your back. You can have a spouse and that person is not involved at all. It's just the word, a spouse.
Yeah, and it is a very empty
Empty.
kind of word. When I think about spouse, the first thing I think about is the level of involvement, whether or not a person is engaged or disengaged. I also think about the level of connectivity. I like glue. I like the stickiness. I like to be connected. And if it isn't sticky and it's like paste, back in the day, like the old school paste we used to eat as kids, or maybe
Used
just
to.
me. You didn't eat paste? Everybody tasted paste.
No, I smell it. I like this.
Hold on a second. You didn't taste paste?
No.
You didn't taste paste? It would mean it would explain a lot if you did taste paste.
Why?
I'm just kidding. I tasted paste. Maybe that's also why I had the life I had. You didn't. You didn't.
I love the smell of paste.
I tasted it. You okay? That's just like those markers. Remember back in the day, the markers that smelled really good that your
Yeah.
teachers had back in the day.
Yeah, but I love the smell of
Yeah,
markers.
you probably get half those markers.
You remember they were was it the rumor that you could get high or you
You actually could. Yeah, you
really?
could. Yeah,
Oh.
huffing's a real thing. So anyway, I do like glue. I like the stickiness of it all. And for me, having a shell of a person, and you kind of know how I am as a person, it wouldn't work. Like that shell will be revealed with the quickness because of just the type of person that I am, but also what I expect in a person that I'm with. I'm engaged and I expect the person that I'm with to be engaged. And if you're not, I don't think it would work. So I don't think the shell of a person or just the idea of a title would work unless we had an arrangement. Now, if we had an arrangement, I'm always down for arrangements, right? Like,
Sure.
no, not messy. Yes, if you let me explain. If I was, like single, or maybe we got into something and we had an arrangement, that would have to be discussed ahead of time.
True.
But I also would have a place where I'd be getting my needs met, though,
Mhm.
because I couldn't have a shell with an arrangement without me getting, my boxes checked. So that arrangement would have to allow for that. But I wouldn't want that. That's too messy. It's, I couldn't do it. I mean, it wouldn't last long term. Let me ask you this though. Should couples post each other on social media to show commitment?
Before there was social media, couples had other ways of showing commitment. And I don't think I have to post you to show that I'm committed to the relationship. I don't think that should be the sole or it shouldn't even be a part of the commitment. How should I say, like the whole that makes up the commitment. It's a choice and some people are more in the open than others and some people are more private. But I do post my partner or my spouse. It doesn't mean that it's to show commitment. It's
Now
just a trend
listen.
or a fad.
So I gotta call devil's advocate
What?
and actually kind of bring you to the carpet with this because you go on social media a lot
I
and you see a lot of couples a lot. And then there's a lot of people that really put a lot of stake in social media, whether it's true or not, they do.
and it will be the death of us because of what of how much we place so much. We put social media up here. Oh, I saw it on social media, so it must be gospel or no.
No, I hear you, and I agree, and I'm on the old school side, for me. But I also know that it's funny that you would say this about this question, considering you're on social media a lot, like that. Ironic, right? I just
Yeah, but I'm on social media for other reasons.
scrolling.
Scrolling, it's a thing.
So the question, if I'm going to remind you, which is, should couples post each other on social media to show commitment?
Yes, and I still I'm sticking to my answer.
Mhm.
Before social media, couples were committed to each other. I mean,
But this is
posting.
the new day and age, and even though I would agree that social media doesn't show everything, but it goes to the other side too. Is would you feel some kind of way if your person never posted you? I mean, because that's ultimately what the question is asking. And there's people, believe it or not, like I was looking around and I was in one of these chats, right? I was so shocked by some of the statements that I read that people said. So people made assumptions that if you didn't post the person, you weren't serious about them, or you were cheating on them, or you were hiding something. It went negative. Then I was thinking to myself, not everybody's public. Not everybody puts everything online. And then also what you see online is probably not accurate or true
Exactly.
too. So there's several lies to this. But, and I want to say but, and I mean a big, bodacious, bootylicious but.
Aha, bootylicious.
I do because if we're together and there are no pictures of me, my nigga, my dude, think about that.
Well, thank God that's not the case.
No, I'm just saying, but think about that. Would that send a sign as well? Because honestly, if we're together, are you hiding me? From you, I'm shocked. I'm going to be honest about the kind of the fluff you're giving right now. Because if a person that you were with never posted you, to me, even if it didn't show a sign of commitment, but it would show something.
Okay, so I get what you're saying. It also depends on the person that I'm with. If the person that I'm with is in the media a lot and they have several pages and they're always posting. Say for example, we go out for dinner and you're posting the food. You had the time to post the food, but you didn't have time to post me. I get that. So yeah, it depends on the kind of but if the person that I'm with is quiet, not in the media, barely post anything, have just a, just their picture, a profile picture, and that's it. Then I know that person is not a lover of social media. They just don't want to be in the
But
limelight.
why
But
does
if
it
you
have
are
to be about the
always,
other person? What about what's in your heart? I'm gonna post it because my heart's there, and I feel like that at that moment. Like my heart is like boom. It's like damn boy.
Mhm.
Ah. For you, I'm actually kind of taken back by your answer again
Why?
because I don't think it's authentic. I'm gonna be
Why
honest.
is not
It's really not.
somebody that didn't post me, and it wasn't a thing. We were in a relationship for 8 years. I can't recall being posted. And the only reason it didn't bother me because that person wasn't like a person who
Did you have any suspicions of that person cheating?
no, no, no.
So this
That,
is what
but
some of the people were saying.
right.
I'm not saying I
And then
believe that.
I was in another relationship after that, and that person was a person who was always posting. And the reason I brought up the food posting was we'd go to restaurants and the food would be posted, the scenery would have been posted, but I wouldn't be posted. And so I had an issue with that because you could find time to post the food, the scenery, and the ambiance, but you couldn't post me. That I have an issue with because it means then that you're a person who you love the media. So therefore, why not post me when you're posting all these other stuff, if that makes sense? So it depends on the individual. Like you have to understand who the person you're with in order to take offense to something like that.
I don't know. I mean, I hear you. I do hear you. I don't know if that will work for me though. Cause I mean, I could care less if you're on it or not. But if we've been together for some time and it's like nothing, my dude, I don't know. I don't post
Mhm.
and I know I don't put everything out there often. But if out of all the times we've been together, it's like nothing. I don't know. I'm not one of these young tenderonis. I won't even claim that, right?
Mhm.
And even though it doesn't mean anything, it would still be a conversation that would need to be had with me. At least just I can speak for myself. I would have that conversation because it would be like out of all the time that we've been together, you found nothing worthy to post. Nothing. Nothing. Okay. So that's why I mean, so people were going, right, and it's harder obviously than I was going. It made me think about that question. Even though social media is like whatever fake in some aspect or whatever, there is still a claiming that some people actually really do want to feel in a relationship. Why have a title? Then if that's the case, is it the same as you don't need a title? You're not gonna post anything that you don't need to be my girlfriend. Is that too extreme?
I don't know.
So I mean, okay, so you would go, let me ask you, would you not have a title with someone and be with them for years?
No, you know that about me. I would never. First of all, I date with a purpose. I don't
No,
just
no.
date.
So hold on a second. It's just kind of like a title thing. You would date without a title, right?
No,
So what if I was a person who didn't do titles?
that's your problem. Then I'll move on to the next person that does title.
Interesting. So why wouldn't it be the same? How come you would give grades about social media, but not
Because
about
social media shouldn't be the end all be all.
it's the way people were going in on what they were saying? I was like, dang, let me think about this a little deeper. Because people were going in like, oh, you're hiding the person. I was like, wow. And then it went in, you're not fully committed. I'm like, wow. They were really going in on this question. But then it brings up another question. Would you date without a title then? Part of what social media is claiming the other person. It's a public display of the other person that you're committed. You can bro, I'm just saying, is it not like so when someone if I
Yeah,
don't
it is,
post
but
another person that I'm, kind of close to it, that is sending a sign to the entire whoever's my friend group that I'm with you. That's a title, is it not?
so I had this ex that she had postings of her ex on her page when
Started or when you were finished or you or during together during it?
during
Oh.
yeah. In your words, I've lived.
So you stayed through that.
I spoke about it afterwards when I found out who it was. At first, I didn't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Is that off limits? Is that off limits? Have your ex all over your page once you're done?
Once you're done, those pictures should be deleted or archived.
Archive, not deleted.
I'm just
Jesus.
saying, depends on what the kind of person. Because some
Hmm.
people love to hoard stuff. I don't know why,
So
but
if
in
you
my
make the
phone, it
archive,
would be deleted.
interesting. But if you make the archive list, I got a chance still.
Right? Exactly. Well, it should be deleted. I
So
don't think your ex should be on your page. Period.
you don't think so?
That's creepy.
I don't support that. I've gone over this with you before. To get me to the point where I walk away, I've tried. Like I'm a trier. I'll work through some shit a little bit. I'll try. But the trying has a limit. I'm honest about that, and when I get to that limit, it's hard.
Mm.
Usually for the other person, that time I've grieved, I've cried, and I've gotten to a point in place where I can walk. I'm good. I put my little music on, boop, boop, I'm out. And the interesting part about that, I usually grieve during the relationship. So when I walk, I'm actually walking and I can set shit ablaze behind me because at that point, it really doesn't matter. And so it takes a while to get there, though. I'm a trier. Now, if I'm done with you, you won't be on my page. Oh my God. I'm not going to be rolling back to 1810, trying to look at the memories of whatever. If you have kids, I won't necessarily throw anything away. I will put it in storage for that kid to have should they decide when they got older they wanted to see it. But if it was no kids involved, then you'll be deleted. There's nothing to keep any stenches of you around because you're probably going to try to fuck up my new situation. I know it's coming. I'm on cleans. I may even sage and get the pasta over to sprinkle some anointing oil over all the spots you've been in the house. And then you're out. So I think that's hard to say that the ex was still on the page, though. That's rough.
Still on the page.
That's rough. Now, I know that I'm still on people's pages.
Really?
But like, so I think that that's a really different question because I feel that crosses a line. And for me, I think it's a sign of disrespect.
Which one? That you're still on the ex's page?
No, I don't care about that.
Oh.
I can't control other people. I'm saying for the person that you're with at the time, that for them to have their ex on the
Of
page,
course it was disrespect.
that's a sign of disrespect. That's hard.
Hardcore. To
That's
the
a
highest score.
Is there a higher core?
Mm.
I couldn't rock with that one.
You girl.
That had to be hurtful though.
I've lived, in your words.
Yeah,
Lived.
I say that a lot. I say that a lot. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yep, I am.
Okay. What matters more, compatibility or commitment?
No, where do you? Oh my God, you find all
They're
these
good ones, right? They're great. What matters more, compatibility or commitment?
commitment.
That actually doesn't surprise me. You said that. I'm opposite though.
You want compatibility?
Yeah. No, commitment comes with compatibility though, because I would pick someone like me, like minded. You feel me? And the reason why I say that because I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
You're not a cop. I'm kidding.
That was cute. That was really cute. No, I'm not a cup. And then the reason why I say that, because one, definitely high energy. And I love love. And I'm really engaged, right? I'm not the type of person where you couldn't be with me and not be with me. Does that make sense? If I'm there, usually you're there or they're there, whatever. And we are living. I really love love when I'm in love. I love it. I eat it up, I swallow it up, and I lay with it. Like I love it. So commitment, that means I got that shell thing going. And I have been that person for some, and I realized that I cannot have just commitment because I had that before.
Know that you put it in
Yeah,
that.
you see me? Like, yeah, I had that before. So when I did,
Right.
I was a shell and I was there and I was loyal, but my heart wasn't in it. And they knew it wasn't in it, but the fact that they had me, they didn't care.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
That's rough.
It's okay. I learned. You've lived, I've lived. Fair. And so I've known now that I can't just have the commitment. I'm very loyal. And I'm loyal by nature. There's nothing I can do about that. When I realized what I needed in life, it had to be compatibility. Because when I was that shell for that person, and they loved the shell because they had me, but I wasn't happy. I was miserable. And with that came me being absent in it. And even though, other people were happy that I was in it and she was happy that I was in it, I wasn't happy that I was in it. So you got the emptiness, you got the checked outness, and you also got me not being there a lot. So friends came before everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I was out partying, living, had the time of my life because I wasn't in it. And there's a big difference when you are in something for me and the compatibility part because I'm home more, I'm connected more, we're together more, we do things together more. And that compatibility part is what that glue for me is all about. So I can be loyal, that is number one, but I can't be loyal to a fault where I actually exclude myself and I now know what I'm worth, as opposed to before when I was just that commitment shell. They didn't have to worry about me cheating or anything, but they also had that issue of me not feeling tuned into them either.
So let me tell you something. Is
Uh-huh.
that why every summer in your mind,
Girl,
you're like, I'm out?
not only
And then
I
the
think,
summer comes and you're like, do you want to go with me? Do you want us to go there? Do you want us to? Do you
actually,
want
you
us to?
should feel blessed about that. You come with,
I know that's what
yeah,
the entire
it
point that
is.
you just made
It
just now
really is.
in a nutshell.
It really is.
Because every summer in your mind, you think,
In my mind,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, in your mind, you'll be out and carrying on with yourself, or every weekend you'll be
Yeah,
here, there, and everywhere. And
I
when it
do.
comes, you actually don't want to do it.
It shows the level of connectedness, and I think that is what this question is getting at,
Mhm.
right? And it's true because I am the person, especially in the spring and summer months, even fall, that I am on the go type of person. And to be home and to be connected or to be with my person, that's ultimately what I feel like I'm built to do. Now, do we find ourselves in situations at times when we've picked people and they've turned out to be a little bit different than what you've envisioned? And you realize once you're in it, like, damn. And it takes some time because not everybody shows their colors right away. And that's the thing that about loyalty for me. Even though I found out, and at this time we were years in, not us, but me and this person was years in. And I realized I'm like, damn, you are not it. But how loyal I am is that I made a commitment. And when I make a commitment, I'm staying with it. So I did things and I tried things to, work on things. We were in therapy, we're doing these things, but there was a level of emptiness that I know that she could never feel inside of me. And it wasn't her job to. And I know that. And so when I looked at it from a healed perspective, which was not what is she not doing, it was me. And I realized that the type of person she was, she just wasn't a match for me. And when you get to that point and you've worked on yourself enough and you've done all the exercises or you've journaled and you've gone through therapy and you look and you say, you know what? One of the biggest things that I can tell you and I've learned through my divorce was that divorce was not necessarily a bad thing for me. It was a rebranding of the light shining on the areas of my life that I needed to heal from. And a lot of it was me being silent, right? I was silent through so much of like my relation. I didn't talk because you talk to a person who doesn't listen. It was kind of like, oh, what's the point? What's the point? Right. But then it got to a point in a place where it was like, by me not saying anything, people just accepted my silence as yes
Mm.
and they went on.
Mm.
So I would never pick just commitment ever again. Makes sense, right? I just because I lived through it before. I was like, oh hell no. No. If I can't throw rocks with you in the water or push you in or anything like that, like we not, and we can't vibe and we have fun, just us, right? I'm not gonna pick you. I'm just not. All right, you ready for the next one? There's more. Why you
I'm
always say
kidding.
that? All right. Do relationships fail more because of communication or expectation? So I'll ask it again. Do relationships fail more because of communication or expectations?
Oh my gosh.
They're tough, right?
They're
They're so good. They're so good.
because I want to say they go hand in hand,
They may.
and I don't want to just pick one, but your question specifically say one or the other.
Yeah. But it could be a mixture. I mean, I could see it being a mixture. What are your thoughts though?
Okay. Oh my gosh. Expectations.
Why you pick that one?
Oh my gosh. You're right. Oh my god.
You can see it both sides.
I
In fairness, it could be both, right?
because I expect you to do a certain thing. We could communicate about it all day long,
Mhm.
but my expectation still remains the same. You know what I mean? So I, I don't know, because I think they go hand in hand.
Here's the weird part about this, right? A lot of people have expectations based off of what they would do. Sometimes our answers in life are not easy. It's not either or. It could be a mixture. That's why gray thinking is actually, and gray understanding is actually so important. It can't be
Mhm.
black and white, right?
Right.
Because things are so complex. So when you think about this question, when it talks about expectations and you think about the root of it, the expectations usually come from a perceived
Right.
perspective that you have about the other person or about what you would do.
True.
And when you think about relationships, this happens in so many relationships. Why most arguments actually start because of expectation,
Very much.
right?
And I
Like
expect you to know this.
not only that, you expect people to be in your mind.
True.
You expect people to read your mind. No one else can be in that whole movie scene with you but you. And I think that speaks to not just you, right? But it speaks to everybody else and even myself. I have a whole world in this head of mine. And the reason why this question is so unique is when you actually boil it down to really think about the roots of things and why things don't work and why things end, it's usually because of preconceived notions that people carry about other people not realizing that they haven't done the work on themselves or they carry stuff from their own childhood and they put it on other people. And when other people either don't meet their expectations because it wasn't their job, we then get upset and then sometimes we leave. But there's so many levels to communication. It's not just talking, it's actually being able to actively listen.
Right. And we know people don't actively listen all the time.
Listening is hard, especially when someone who you love is telling you something about yourself that you really don't want to hear. And the question is, do relationships fail? Do relationships fail more because of communication or expectations? That's such a big
It
question
is. It is.
because they could fail because of both.
Both.
Because having expectations and you not talking about the expectations can
Right.
ultimately lead to failure.
Exactly.
One of the good things about communication, which I've had to learn more about it, is that communication is not only a tool, it's an avenue that can drive a lot of disagreements into a positive direction. And it's the only change agent that I know that people can actively change in the moment of a situation. And so without it, there is nothing, at least from my perspective, right? So I can have all the expectations in the world, but if I don't tell you about it and I don't talk to you about it to kind of figure out if there's a way through it, we're going to end regardless because you're never going to end up to this vision of this person that I have in my head, which was made up, by the way. And most people have made up expectation or behaviors of a person or ideals of a person that don't even really exist.
True. It's true.
Like I remember my dream person before I met my dream person. I could draw them out. I can see it now. And then when I got my dream person, I was like, like my drawing. No joke. And then you have all these things that you think you're looking for. And when you get it, you're like, damn, did I really want that? I thought I wanted it, right? So having these conversations with people about what you expected is actually really important. And people don't do it in the beginning of relationships. You know what they do? They just ask you to be with them and they don't talk. So this question actually is not a trick question.
It felt like it. I want to say both, but
Yeah,
based
it's
on
true.
how you phrase your question, I have to pick one, right?
Ideally, but I think I can see the lack of both leading
Yeah.
to the end. So, relationships are tough. And I think a lot of people don't realize how tough they are before they say yes. And I'm not even talking about I do's because I do see another level. I'm talking about yes, just being with people, like and just
Or
dating. Okay. All right. I think I got one more. Do you believe in redating an ex?
it depends, and there are different layers of what it depends.
Share.
Okay, and next, no.
Well, why would you say it depends? If you started with it depends and you sound now really strong.
Next is somebody you've been with, I guess, for some time, right? Like
Sure.
you were in a relationship, da 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 da, and it didn't work the first time. Why would it work the second time?
I think it depends. Yeah, I mean, oof, this is rough. So I really only redated one person in my entire life.
And how did that end up for you?
Miserable. It was a disaster. Listen, I got away once and I was stupid. That was definitely young Jay. I've grown so much over the years. I don't know if I would say no completely now. Like if I broke up with someone I was with now, would I say that that'd be the end forever? No. It would only depend on whether or not whatever issues we had were worked out. Does that make sense? Because the person I went back to, there was no work done. It was they fooled me.
They lied.
Fair, right? Like I'm being honest, like so
Sorry.
there's a big difference though. I think when a person knows you and knows you well enough, and at that time I think she knew me more than I knew myself.
Yeah, it was just straight manipulation at
Right.
that point.
But I know myself now, so there's a difference. So when I was young, the person was much older than I was, and I remember feeling almost as like I was being guided, but I was so powerless throughout this whole journey. I made a decision because I thought that's what I wanted, right? But me, present day, and if I think about who I am today, and I knew that if whoever I broke up with, I don't know if I would necessarily say I would close that door fully. I'm just being honest. And there's a big reason why.
Why?
Honest. I believe that we go through so many seasons as a person. And I think that the person that I'm with has finally seen like 99.9% of all of them. And not that it would be perfect, but I think that I found someone that even if we didn't work, I would still want us to work. And what I mean by that is whatever it required, whether it be growing on my side or growing on their side or growing on both sides, that I would hope that that work would be done. Does that make sense? So the connection that I have now is different than any connection that I've ever had before. And I mean that in the most authentic way. It's not just like the good times, it's the hard times that I have valued more than our smiles and our fun, even though we have a lot of it. And the reason why is because it has allowed the root system to get deeper. I really think about like what a root system is to manage you through storms. So I never got that deep with anybody else. I never spent the time to actually work on the relationship and I never stayed long enough. I've definitely matured a lot,
Mhm.
which is, I guess in a way good. I don't think I'll ever fully mature though.
No, you won't.
I don't think so. I don't think I have it in me.
Yeah, I don't
Thanks.
think
Thanks. Thanks. Thanks so much. We've got a lot of stuff coming this season, which is exciting. We wanted to remind everyone to like, subscribe, Tell your friends about us. Join in, share, leave comments.
Yeah.
Especially about the questions, because I know you feel like they're unfair.
They were.
They weren't.
Because I want to pick both. You gave me no option.
Sometimes in life you have to choose. Okay, right.
Knowing that how life is, there's no one or the other. There's always the in between or
Yeah.
gray area. That's what makes life life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not just one or the other.
That's true. So like, subscribe, join us. We're going to be dropping episodes every week. If you have any feedback, leave them in the comments. Katie will read them.
And I will respond to you all.
Right. All right. Take care, and we will see you guys next week.